Hello, YouTube. I have a brand new, what I'm going to call a series on my channel. I just kind of came to me the other day. I've just been thinking about what I kind of want to do with my YouTube channel, and my channel's been growing a little bit, and that's super exciting to me. And what I want to use my channel for is talking about things that I love and things that affect me. And one thing that I love is I do love pop culture. And just like most of the rest of America, if you can't tell what's on my screen back here, I fell in love with the show This Is Us. As it started to play. Actually, that's not even true. I fell in love with it at the trailer. I knew I was going to love it, and the trailer came out, oh my gosh. So the show ran all last year, or this past year, so 2016, 2017. The trailer came out, it felt like months before the show actually aired, and the trailer made me cry. I was sobbing at the trailer. I knew I was going to love this show, and I love this show. So what I'm going to do with my YouTube channel is, my goal is to do almost like a video podcast, I guess, about the show. Now, we've already seen that season 1 has aired, so if you haven't watched it yet, there's going to be spoilers in these videos. So my goal right now is just to kind of recap the season. And I thought that I think there's probably over close to 20 episodes, maybe give or take a couple. And so I thought I was going to originally recap it all at once, and I thought that's going to be way too long. So I'm going to recap it 3 episodes at a time, which is significant to me because of the big 3. So I just thought that would be a fun way to kind of recap season 1. So I'm starting tonight with episodes 1 through 3. I have this image in the background. Oh my gosh. Trying to get my technology to work tonight was just not my thing. So I found this. This is just off of iTunes. And I found this in the background just because I wanted something. This is us. This is SE in the background, I guess. So I guess what I want to do first is just to start talking about the actors that are in this show. Now, some of them are very recognizable, especially if you're around my age. So I have literally notes here on my computer, and I'm just doing kind of the main, I'm not going to go through the little girls at this point, even though they do become kind of a bigger part of the episode. But the main characters. So the first character and actor, I should say the first actor, is Milo Ventimiglia, and he plays Jack Pearson. Milo is an American actor. He was born in California. According to IMDb. That's where I got a lot of this information. But I think probably what most people think of when they see him is Gilmore Girls. He played Jess, who is the bad boy on Gilmore Girls. And I did not actually watch Gilmore Girls when it was on. I binge watched it, probably about a year ago. So quite a while after the show has even ended. And then I did go ahead and watch the Netflix series, and oh my gosh, I just so badly want Jess and Rory to be together. They left me hanging. But anyway, so that is Milo, who plays Jack Pearson. The next the next actor is Mandy Moore, and she plays Rebecca Pearson. Now, I'm sure if you're my age, I'm 34, y'all might remember a little song called, I'll probably have to do that 50 times throughout this video. You might remember a little song called Candy. That's at least I think that's kind of how she got her start, was like she kind of came up after the Britney Spears and the Christina Aguileras, right around that time with pop music. And, you know, I'm really glad she transitioned into acting. I don't know if she did any acting before or after her kind of music career, but yeah, I'm so glad she transitioned to acting, because you probably recognize her most from the beloved movie and book that was turned into a movie by Nicholas Sparks, A Walk to Remember. I have some fond memories of watching that movie. Anyway, so, and then a couple, like, I love that movie so much, but a couple of my other favorite Mandy Moore movies are Chasing Liberty and Because I Said So. I'm a huge fan of Because I Said So, probably because it reminds me of my mom and I, like the mother-daughter dynamic there. Anyway, so that's Mandy Moore, who plays Rebecca Pearson. I just want to throw on a side note here. The first time I saw the trailer, I didn't know that was her. I just couldn't see her face, and when I found out it was her, I was so excited. I just think she's really cool. So, all right. So that's the mom and dad in the show. And then the big three, which I talked to you about, the three kids. So we're going to start with Sterling K. Brown, who plays Randall Pearson. Now, I'm not going to, these next three I'm not going to go into as much information on. However, I really like Sterling K. Brown, so I did watch the series The People vs. O.J. Simpson, an American Crime Story. That's, it says here, he won an Emmy and Critics' Choice Award for the role and was nominated for a Golden Globe, SAG, and NAACP Image Award. So, yeah. So, Sterling K. Brown, again, plays Randall Pearson. I really like this character a lot. I just like his whole vibe. So, yeah. I'll get more into it because I'm going to break down the episodes here next. The next character I'm going to talk about, an actor, is Chrissy Metz, who plays Kate Pearson. Now, I am quickly becoming a huge fan of Chrissy Metz. Mostly because it is so refreshing to see somebody on TV who looks more like me. And by that I mean I am a plus size woman, and there's not a lot of plus size women on TV in the industry who aren't the quote unquote funny girl. And I just love her vibe, like how she appears to be in interviews. She seems to be very humble. And I think I've heard in several interviews that she had, what was it, like 31 or 81 cents, something like that. She was just on Jimmy Fallon last night, and she said that's all she had in her bank account when she booked This Is Us. So I think she really is humble. And it's just been wonderful to watch her character on TV, and yeah, the power of seeing somebody who looks more like you it's incredible. So that's Chrissy Metz. So she plays Kate Pearson. The next sibling is her twin brother on the show, who is Justin Hartley, who plays Kevin Pearson. Justin Hartley, I saw this on the Today Show, the 4th hour of the Today Show with KLG and Hoda and Hody Woman. They pulled out some clips from him from his time on Passions. I didn't see that, but what I did see, I'm pretty sure he was on one season, a show on the CW that was ended up being canceled after maybe not even a full season, but it was with Mamie Gummer, Mamie Gummer, is that her last name? It's Meryl Streep's daughter, and they played doctors. And I really loved that show. I was so bummed when they took that off the air. And I'm pretty sure Justin Hartley was in that, and I think he played like the love interest. So yeah, I remember him from that. So okay, and then the final three actors I don't know a ton about, but Susan Kelechi, sorry if I say these last names wrong, plays Beth Pearson. I love Beth. I love Beth and Randall. I love their dynamics as a husband and wife. I think it's just, they're great together. And then the next actor is Chris Sullivan, who plays Toby Damon. I didn't even know Damon was Toby's last name. I just always think of him as Toby. Yeah, and then I have to, like, you can't not talk about this final character I'm going to talk about, but Ron Cephas Jones, who plays William Hill. I'm not going to get into a ton of it because, like I said, I'm just going to recap the first 3 episodes in this video, but oh my gosh, he has given some fantastic performances on the show. So, okay, those are the actors, and let's just dive into the actual episodes. This is probably going to be a long first video, but what can you say about it? So, episode 1, the first episode, what kicks it all off, the description is Mandy Moore, Milo Ventimiglia, Sterling K. Brown, and more star in the ensemble drama about a group of people who share the same birthday and so much more than anyone would ever expect. Isn't that a good teaser for what we know happened on the show? So, episode 1, I made some notes of some of the scenes or moments on the episode that stood out to me, and the very first scene or not the very first scene, but the very first scene I jotted down in my notes was the scene of Kate at the refrigerator. Oh my gosh, when she is pulling those Post-it notes off, and then there's another one after that, I mean, it just hit home so much with me as I, have struggled with my weight my entire adult life. Honestly, right now, I'm just in a place where I just love myself where I am, and I've actually, it was probably a year, when was it? Like a year and a half to 2 years ago, I lost about 75 pounds, and I felt great, and, yeah, it was fun. It's so interesting because you get a lot of questions and a lot of attention when you're losing the weight, and there's definitely a power in that. But I'm still the same person as I am no matter what weight I am. So I did gain that weight back. So, it's at times really emotional watching her acting. And honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, like, I've loved the journey that she's been on because it's so relatable. However, can we not just, like, be okay with the fact that there are some people in this world who weigh more than others? Like, I could go off on a total tangent, but I understand for health reasons why maintaining a certain weight is a good thing, but honestly, like, where I'm at, like, I'm healthy. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. So, yeah, of course I want to be the healthiest I can be, but I just don't understand why we have to think that just because somebody is heavier that there's something wrong with that or wrong with them. Like, so yeah, I struggle with that dynamic a little bit in the show, but that's just where I am right now personally. I just am loving myself where I am. So, and I think everybody should. So, anyway, so along with that, when she's at the meeting for like the weight support group meeting, there was just so much about that I identify with. I've been in those situations before. I've been to those meetings, and it's just so freaking honest, and I love it. I love that that's being shared on TV for everybody to see. This is totally taking a different turn. The next scene that really got me was the scene and got me just like in tears was the scene during the birth scene, and particularly the song that was played during that scene was really emotional. I'm 34. I think I said that already in this video. My husband and I don't have any children. I don't feel the rush yet, like on a regular basis. I have felt the desire to have kids. I've also felt the desire to not have kids. So I think it's a complex decision to make. But during that scene, that song is just really powerful, and it just goes to show the power that music can bring to a scene. I really, truly believe that music is just almost another character to the show. It definitely plays a huge dynamic for me. The thing I did find interesting, though, is that was a scene that was technically during the the 80s, but I don't know, that hadn't been revealed yet in the show, so I'm wondering if they were trying to keep it like a secret, because the Damien Rice song is most certainly not from the 80s, so I found that interesting. One thing I love about the show, well, first, let me say this. In regards to the birth and Rebecca losing the third baby, the doctor's speech, and I just love him as an actor right now. I cannot think of what his name is. Hold on, I gotta start and stop. Okay, as I was saying, right now I can't think of what his name is, but he's definitely been in at least one Nicholas Sparks movie. And I'm sure he's done other stuff as well. That's just what I know him from. But he was so real, and what an amazing person to have in that moment. But when he's talking to Jack and he says, there is no lemon so sour that you can't make something resembling lemonade. And then Jack later uses that line comes back into play. Kate says it as an adult. So Jack, her dad, used that line throughout growing up. So that obviously made a really big impact on him. Obviously, the first episode, I was not at all expecting to see what happened, and by that I mean like the big reveal at the end of the episode. Oh my goodness, I for sure knew as soon as the firemen who found Randall, the baby, outside of the firehouse, as soon as he took that cigarette, I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? He can't smoke in there. And then when they pulled the camera out, because they were really tight in on the actors during that scene, when they pulled the camera out and you started seeing the clothes and everything, I just remember being like, oh my gosh, I was so stunned. And I remember thinking, almost being mad. I'm like, there's so many questions I have. How are they going to do this? And, as the season went on, they think they've done a fantastic job, and what a cool concept for a show. One thing that I kind of surprised me was because I expected to this to be a show that I shed a lot of tears, and I do, but I was surprised with how many times I laughed during the first episode. There were just some really sweet moments that just, not like a real hearty laugh, but just, you know, like it just made me smile, some of the moments. Yeah, oh, and I should have said this earlier. I was trying to keep this all together, but the other part in the show, the first episode that really stuck out to me was just, the show itself is just so well acted, but when Mandy Moore, when Jack told Rebecca during that scene that they lost the third baby, Mandy Moore's face was so devastated, and I just, you're just right in there with the actors, and they're such good storytellers, and that's what makes the show so special, and because it's so relatable. It's just things that real people are going through in life, and I think that's why the show has done as well as it has. Even talking about it, look at me, I'm getting all like upset and like crying. Okay, so that's just episode 1. See, it's a good thing that I didn't try and put them all together. Now, I don't have all the notes. It's not going to be as long, these next 2, I don't think. Okay, so episode 2, it's called The Big 3. And the description of the episode is this: Jack and Rebecca struggle to overcome distance in their marriage. Toby encourages Kate to get loose. To let loose, not get loose. I'm like, what? Get loose. To let loose. Kevin faces fallout from his meltdown, and Beth protects her man. Katie Sagal guest stars. That's a fun guest star. Who doesn't love Katie Sagal? Okay, so episode 2. Things that stuck out to me. Obviously, I think I've made it clear that I probably identify with Kate the most, her character the most. And Kate's speech to Toby was the standout for me in this episode. And she says, it's always going to be about the weight. And this is a quote that she says, will this chair hold me? Will this dress fit me? And will this chair hold me? Will this dress fit me? And if I ever get pregnant, will anyone notice? Holy smokes. That hit so hard to home because I've had all of those thoughts repeatedly throughout my life. Especially, like, you know, about the pregnancy one definitely hits home because it's just something that I've, you know, obviously being 34 and being married for, my husband and I are going to be married for 10 years next month in August, and holy smokes, most people in that situation have babies or, you know, their kids are like in elementary school. So yeah, that's definitely something I think about. I just think too that the way, you know, seeing the way Jack and Rebecca's marriage is portrayed, I just think any married person can kind of identify with that, because marriage really does go up and down. It's, I don't know, it's like, can you describe it as fluid? It's just, you know, when you're married to somebody for a long time, it's this amazing, wonderful thing. And then there are times when it's just hard. And I think most people who are married experience those those highs and lows, or ups or downs, or whatever you want to say. But, you know, marriage is such an incredible thing, and I'm just so excited to, like, I feel like my husband described it the other day, he's like, feels like we got some street cred now that we're going to be married for 10 years, and it's like, yeah, it feels good, you know, it feels like an accomplishment. But yeah, just seeing their kind of dip in their marriage is just really relatable as well, which I love. Like, I love that I can, like, pull different things from different characters and relate to each of them in kind of different ways. So, episode 3 is called The Pool. No, sorry. Episode 3 is called Kyle. Okay, the description. Struggling with grief, Rebecca makes a secret pact with William. Kevin decides to move to New York City, and Toby puts Kate in the limelight. This is a fun episode, and it's also, like, a really emotional episode. Aren't they all, though? Okay, so the notes I jotted down. The first one I have is the reveal of Rebecca knowing who William is. Holy smokes. I think, though, like, you know, there's a lot of questions in this episode of how Randall is going to handle this information. And I think, though, like, I can so see both sides of it. I can so see the protective mother who's afraid of, you know, losing that son, and also just needing to know that he, like, Randall is her boy, so that she can really bond with him. That was really interesting to watch. Then the next note I took down is the scene of Toby and Kate when Toby shows up at her house with the, like, limo. I don't know if it's a full limo, and the red carpet, and he says to her, just give me one day where you're the star. And that is so sweet and romantic and just melt your heart type stuff. So yeah. The next note I have is when Randall gets the news that William's cancer has metastasized. I can so relate to this too. But there's a whole nother side of this. So I can relate to this side. Like, Randall finds out that his biological father is going to die from cancer. The look on his face when he gets that news, I can totally relate. I lost my dad to cancer. This show really digs out the emotions in you. I lost my dad to cancer 5 years ago. I was 27. My dad was 57. And I remember when I found out the first time that he had cancer, where I was, exactly what happened. It was super dramatic. It just felt like dramatic to me because Darwin and I had our dog at the dog park, and I got the news, like, my dad called me on the phone and told me, and I fell over my dog, like, literally fell on my face. Like, it was just awful, you know. And then, you know, you go through the whole treatment stuff, and then you think if you're lucky that you got it caught, and then you don't get it caught, and you find out that it's spread. That's at least what happened in my situation. And I remember that phone call, and yeah. Am I going to have to pause this video to move on? So yeah, that scene right there definitely pulled out the emotions in me. And then, okay, moving forward, the scene with Rebecca telling William he can't see Randall, when she goes, you know, she finds the bus that he rides on, and she finds his apartment, and she goes. And I just, like I was saying earlier, I understand why she did that. You know, some people may think that was just cold, but I understand why she did it. She just really needed to be able to call him her own, and to know that that nobody was going to come back and try and take that baby from her. That's, I think, the kind of the fear of adoption, and that, you know, it's something I've thought about, like, not being able to have kids, like, not being able to yet get pregnant, And, you know, so the mind wanders to adoption, and that's definitely a fear I think people who adopt would have. Um, so, yeah. But the part where William tells her to um, give him his own name, because you see, like, the episode name was called Kyle, that's because she called Jack and Rebecca called the kids Kevin, Kate, and Kyle. That was the original name for the baby that they thought they were going to have that they didn't have. So I thought it was very special. Just, you know, and almost a bittersweet moment that they were going to give him his own name. So, and they picked the name from the poetry book. And so he was always going to have some sort of keepsake from, or something that connected him to his biological family, and that was his name, and that's really special. So, yeah, so I want to say the last note that I have, and one thing I haven't talked much about Kevin, and it's because he's one of the characters that I kind of least identified with. And just when I thought, oh gosh, this guy, he's just so dang selfish. And actually, Justin Hartley, as a person, as a real person, the real person who plays this, he seems like a really nice guy. I've seen him in some interviews, but his character is just like, he's going through this kind of like 30-something crisis. Okay, so I can kind of relate to that. It's kind of like, wow, this is life. But I'm just like, also like, man, he's just kind of selfish, and he's just being really self-destructive, and he doesn't make the greatest choices, as you kind of see unfold throughout the season. But when he calls Kate over, he's sitting in his closet because he called over Insane Elaine for, I think that's her name, Elaine, but they call her Insane Elaine, for, I guess, what is just a booty call, I guess, and she's like tearing up the place, and Kate is like, Toby, I'm not gonna be with Toby, and she's like, and Kevin's like, why? And she's like, well, you called, and I had to leave, and he was tired of, you know, essentially playing second fiddle. And when Kevin is like, you're fired, I was like, thank you. You've redeemed yourself. And finally, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. So yeah, that is my, oh my gosh, this is so long. That is my recap of the first 3 episodes. And really the reason I'm doing this is because I just want people to talk to about the show. So I'm hoping if people watch this video, they'll comment down below, and we can have like an online dialogue of why we love this show so much. So I also, you know, like, obviously I'm just one person, so everybody out there will identify with the show and identify with characters differently than I will, and I want to hear about that. It's fun. It's fun to have, you know, it's really like kind of like not in-depth conversation, but it can obviously get in-depth really quick, and I feel like I, you know, revealed a lot about myself in this video, because this show just drags it out of you, and I just love it. So that is my first video on This Is Us. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more of these videos, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will have another one coming for you soon. And then when the new season starts, we'll go an episode at a time, and it'll be a lot more manageable to watch. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!